Ladies and gentlemen, up next, Faith over Fascism. Please welcome, from the state of Oklahoma, Governor Kevin Stitt, and your host, award-winning journalist and radio host, Todd Starnes.
Governor, hello.
Hey, great. Hey, Todd, how you doing?
You know, Governor, this is the first time that we've actually met, and I felt an immediate bond, and I think I understand why after checking out your Twitter feed. Memphis, Tennessee, we're home to FedEx, Elvis, and smoked pork butts. And Oklahoma is the 8th largest producer of pork in America. So
That's
there
right.
you go. We've got that in common.
Yeah, we're top 10 in that. I actually spoke to the Pork Council this morning in Oklahoma, a bunch of pork producers in our state before I flew out here.
Well, Governor, we are very excited about the great work you're doing in Oklahoma, which, by the way, the reddest state in all of America, Oklahoma.
Right. The freest state, too.
And it would make sense that the reddest state in America also has the most pro-life governor in the United States.
Yep.
Governor, I'm wondering if you could explain to us your journey as a lawmaker, as a leader, and your commitment to the unborn.
Yeah, well, first off, you know, my Christian worldview is, you know, we believe in life, and I represent 4 million Oklahomans. We overwhelmingly support life in the state of Oklahoma. And, you know, when the Supreme Court decided, rightly so, that this was a state issue, that it should be decided by the states. And I like to remind people, you know, I recognize every state's going to do things differently, but now we can have an honest conversation about it. Oklahoma, obviously, I banned abortion at conception. Thank you. But what I think is really important for people to understand is France, for example, they ban abortion at like 14 weeks. Most European countries are 12 to 14 weeks. Some states may do heartbeat at 6 weeks. Some states may do 15 weeks. Some states could do 20. Oklahoma does conception. But here's what's so egregious to me is Colorado. They just passed the most egregious abortion bill, which allows for any reason all the way up to birth. So we absolutely know that life begins before that. And so, again, Oklahoma, I'm going to stand for our values, and every state is going to, I believe, most people in America believe in life and want to support that.
When you look at what happened in the state of Kansas, you have some Republicans now and conservatives wondering, okay, should we still be focused on the issue of life? Is that a winning issue or a losing issue at the ballot box? What say you?
Well, that was a very poorly worded, you know, state question and ballot initiative. And so, yeah, I mean, they're trying to confuse the voters. We obviously support women's health care, and the left is trying to confuse people on this issue. So again, that was a total ban, and that was the question. And so some people obviously for rape and incest, but that's what every state is going to do. You can have some honest conversations about it. And the big point we're missing here is we can't let 9 people, jurists in Washington, D.C., decide what's best for every single state. And we're closer to the people. I represent 4 million Oklahomans, and I rightly will admit that we'll do things differently than they do maybe in New York or California, but that's the way our Constitution is set up.
And I have to imagine, and again, a lot of folks thought Roe v. Wade overturned, it's over. No, it just started. The fight just started. What is the encouragement you want to give the folks here at CPAC? What do they need to be doing back in their home states, working with their legislatures and their governors?
Well, obviously, making your voice known. I mean, I've got some great Oklahoma legislators in the room. I ran into Representative McDougal. I don't know if he's in the House, but the governors cannot get things to our desk unless it's great, and it's great representatives in our legislature. So again, pushing good conservative policy, making sure you get involved. And that's why I'm so proud of everybody in this room. You guys are engaged. You know what the issues are. It's so important that we have an informed citizenry that understand these issues. And I tell people, if all 4 million Oklahomans could sit on the couch in my office and we could go through these issues, it's a no-brainer what to do.
One of the other things I really appreciate that you've done in Oklahoma, you've taken a fierce stand defending biological female athletes in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I mean, you know, the left calls it a cultural war. We call it common sense in Oklahoma because, you know, my favorite bill I signed this year was Save Women in Sports. And basically it just simply says we're going to protect athletics and women's sports, their ability to compete, and we're not going to let biological males play in female sports. The Washington Post then interviews me. Thank you. Washington Post interviews me and they're like, Governor, you signed this controversial bill. And I'm like, well, first off, it's really not controversial in my state. We know the difference between a boy and a girl.
There you go.
And then the other thing, you know, protecting kind of our way of life and what we know is truth, K through 12 in public schools in Oklahoma, we're not going to let males go into female bathrooms. And so it's pretty simple. I passed that bill as well.
You know, Governor, you mentioned a very important word. I think it's a key word to this discussion and these series of discussions we're having here today. You mentioned worldview. And it seems to me at the root of all of these issues, whether it's the life issue, whether it's boys who identify as girls or vice versa, this is a spiritual battle we're facing. I mean, we're talking about the very fabric of our way of life under attack here.
Yeah, you know, I just think it's important that leaders don't shy away. I mean, we have the freedom of religion. We've got the freedom of speech in our country. Our founders, they uniquely understood that religious liberties are the keys to all other liberties. So I don't shy away from my Christian faith and my biblical worldview. And it's not to attack any one person, but I'm also not going to be ashamed of, you know, the most important thing to me is my relationship with Jesus Christ and our worldview and the way we see things in this country.
I may have to move to Oklahoma.
We're top 10 right now in people moving to our state, so come on.
Just leave your politics, the liberal politics out, right?
Well, when I meet people from California and they come up to me in Oklahoma and they tell me, hey, we just moved here from California, I tell them this. I say, listen, I had to wait 18 years to vote in Oklahoma, so you guys have to wait 18 years before you can vote too.
I love it.
But for all the people that are conservative from California, they remind me, they say, Governor, 12 million of us voted for President Trump. From California. So again, there are a lot of conservatives that are moving because they don't like the mandates and the lockdowns and the nonsense that's going on. They believe in freedoms in Florida and Texas and states like Oklahoma.
And of course, in both presidential elections, every single county in Oklahoma went for President Trump.
That's right. That's right. All 77.
Governor, in the time we have left, you mentioned that there are lawmakers, there are a lot of lawmakers. What is your encouragement to them? Because a lot of them are coming under attack. They want to take those firm stands that you've taken. What do you tell those young lawmakers out there?
You know, we've got to be bold. And so, you know, our founders wanted people to leave the private sector and go serve their state. That's what I did. I was in the business world before I ran in 2018. And, you know, what are we doing if we're not leaving this as a better place and focusing on the next generation? And so again, I tell people to be bold, to represent our values and truths, the districts around, but we've got to continue to get engaged and get those right people elected and then hold them accountable to the votes that they're making and making sure that they're passing, you know, conservative legislation. From a state perspective too, it's pretty simple. We want the best education, we want the best health care, roads and bridges, and then the best economy. So I've been lowering taxes, I believe in smaller government, and that's what we're doing in our state.
Governor, midterm elections coming up. I'm going to put you on the spot here. How do you feel about the Republicans and the conservatives moving towards November?
We are going to smoke it in November. We're going to take the House back. And
love it.
You know, really, you know, when the other team is throwing interceptions after interceptions, just kind of sit back and watch and get your popcorn and watch them just kind of implode because I'm telling you, they have so far left that they've lost touch with normal Americans and our normal way of life and our normal values. And so we're going after the Hispanic community, the Asian community, the African American community, folks that really scratch their head, that have little fifth grade girls that they want them protected, and they've got high school athletes that want them protected. And so I think the left has totally lost their minds on what they think that Americans are looking for and wanting. And then you throw in inflation and all the other stuff from these failed policies in Washington, D.C. right now, and I think it's going to be a good time for the good guys in November.
And I don't know about you folks, but after the governor's second term in Oklahoma, I think the rest of the nation would be very interested in hearing what the governor has to say. Governor, thank you so much. Welcome to CPAC, and we appreciate the conversation.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks, Governor. Great job.